Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again. Here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a video talking about The Walking Dead Season 4. After Episode 3, Will Glenn die? Okay, good stuff. So this is one that I wanted to do a video for entirely because I think it's interesting enough to just do one video talking about it, getting my thoughts out there, and then maybe later I'll do one for whether or not Sasha will survive. This will contain spoilers for anyone who has not seen all the way up to The Walking Dead Season 4, Episode 3, Isolation. In it, spoilers, of course, we found out that Glenn is ill. He is sick. Now, it kind of seemed like before that, in the previous week, I think there was some scenes where he kind of looked unsure of himself. Like he looked like, he was there, he's digging and stuff, and we couldn't really tell. It kind of looked like he might have been. Some people were suggesting that maybe Rick is. Now we pretty much know he's not because, well, he beat Tyrese. Well, kind of did. I mean, Daryl was holding him for the first shot, but after that. But Glenn, it was kind of like, you could kind of tell maybe he was just worried, maybe he was sick, and then we found out in the following episode that no, he is in fact sick in episode 403, the isolation episode. So that being said, the groups of course take off to see if they can get some medication for them and bring it back to see if they can, help give them better chances. Herschel's been having them all drink the berry stuff that he made. Had that good scene with Glenn at the top of the stairs there inside the prison, talking about how they survived all the way through until there, and just to be wiped out by a glorified cold, it just doesn't seem right. So that's the state that we're in right now, and we're waiting to find out if he's going to make it or not in next week's episode or the week after. Now, I mean, everyone else we've seen so far, as soon as they get sick, they die, basically, very quickly. Now, Glenn, he may have some advantages over them because I think he is more healthy, I think, than a lot of the others that were killed by it. Karen and the others. I mean, Glenn seems like he's in good shape. When the walker's in the cell block, he's sprinting across, he's doing all these kinds of things. He's one of the tougher survivors, I think, in Rick's group. Right up there with Daryl and the rest from, if you guys remember in Season 3 when he took down the walker tied up from Merle, if you guys remember that. I mean, I tend to think that he does have a pretty good shot at actually surviving this when you look at it logically that way because of that. Now, what is it exactly, the flu they have, or the infection, or the virus, or whatever's happened? I believe somebody said that it was announced by Robert Kirkman, or one of the people involved, maybe Nicotero, I forget who said it exactly, that it's some kind of flu, or something like that. So that being said, maybe what they're all infected with because we know they're all infected with something, which is why when they die, they will turn into walkers. That was established a couple seasons ago from Rick, if you guys remember. Jenner told him that, right? So is it possible that their immune system has been weakened by whatever that is, that infection that they all have, and obviously living in dirty conditions inside of a prison on a daily basis, dealing with the dead, eating food that may be, infected with, maybe an animal that's been bitten by a walker or something, dirty water, running out of water, dirty living conditions, all of these kinds of things, they just, somehow got it ingested with some kind of flu and it's been spreading throughout. So, that makes sense, and it also would make sense if they could find some kind of antibiotics or something like that that could help their immune system boost it, and fight this thing off. We could see some people survive. It's all going to hinge on what they can find and what they can get to. Obviously, Glenn will be like the first person to get anything, I would think. Well, him and the doctor, but the doctor looks like he's already it's too late for him. It seems like doctors are very useful, obviously, in a zombie apocalypse. But it seems like it's too late for him, coughing blood on Herschel. So I would think that Glenn and Sasha would be two of the first characters to get any kind of medicine they can find. So maybe Rick and Carol, their group next week, because we know they're going to go off on their own. Or maybe with Daryl and the rest, Tyrese, Bob, and Michonne. One of the two of those groups, I would think, would bring something back, and I think he has a pretty good chance of surviving. Now on to the topic of, so that's how it could happen logically, how he could survive. He could just die too, obviously, because all the other characters have. Now, the big question is, what do I think is going to happen? And of course, what do you guys think is going to happen? So discuss in the comments. Feel free to comment about it. What you think is going to happen. Do you think he's going to survive? Do you think he's going to die? And if you agree with me, give me a thumbs up. If you disagree with me, give me a thumbs down. So what am I predicting? What do I think? Well, I could really see it going either way. But I have to lean slightly towards I think he'll survive. Slightly. I would say like a 60% versus 40% type deal here. So yes, I'm leaning slightly towards him surviving with the 60 versus 40. Now, why isn't it higher? It's not a straight, for me, it's not a straight 50-50. It could go either way, yes. But I tend to think that he's such a great character, and he's been there since the very beginning. You know, the second episode of the first season, or at least his voice, I think, was in the last part of the first episode of the series. So he's one of the characters that have been there from the absolute beginning. He's got Maggie, of course. He's got some great, dialogue throughout the series with other characters like Herschel and the others, regarding him as his own son, because of what's happened and everything, and how he's helped protect the group and everything like that. Leads me to believe that he'll be a survivor and he'll be around for longer. Plus, in the Walking Dead comic book series, what happens with him there, the events of that would lead me to believe that right now it's too early to kill him off. If you're going to at all, I could see him as a character almost dying, but then surviving right through maybe 10, 15 seasons type thing. And I probably would like to see that because I think he's a great character. So I tend to think that if they're going to kill him off, it probably won't be something like this, because this would kind of be, just like he said, an anticlimactic death for him. It wouldn't feel justified to him. It seems like he's tougher than that. We've seen him go through quite a bit, and I think personally they've got more in store for Glenn in the series. We just saw the death of Andrea, so that was a huge initial character death from the initial characters that were on the show dying off, and that was only 3-4 episodes ago, depending on how you want to count it. 3 episodes ago, I guess you would say. So I tend to think that he'll probably pull through. That's why I'm leaning towards it. Where's the other 40% come from? Well, we have not seen a character death so far this season, in the first 3 episodes, from one of our central core characters that have been there from the beginning. Yes, Karen did die. She was kind of a new character that we saw at the end of last season, so she's probably the biggest known named character to die so far. Zach was a new guy. We don't even know him. He's just like showed up out of nowhere, right? The others, a lot of them are no-namers. We don't even know them. And basically, because of that, we have not had a main cast character die yet. If you compare it to last season, we had 2. We had T-Dog, of course, and Lori die within the first beginning part of the season. So that's quite a while to go without a death from the beginning. 3 full episodes without a major character death. That being said, however, the cast of major characters is running low. We're starting to get to the point where if they keep hacking people off the way they have been with Andrea, T-Dog, Lori, like last season, that kind of stuff, Merle, he was a big one too, right? That pretty soon they won't have enough of the main cast left, and you'll be getting a lot of new characters, yes, but people won't feel as emotionally tied to the new characters as they do to the original cast that's been there since the beginning. So that said, I'm leaning towards him surviving. I hope he does. I'd like to see him survive because he's a great character, and I think they could use him a lot more in the future since he is, become so tough and he's changed so much since the beginning. He's got the relationship with Maggie, so he's a very interesting character. He's not a character that I think should be killed at this time. But again, like I said, the 40 comes from the fact that we have not seen a major initial cast character death so far this season. So really, I could see it going either way. To make a prediction, what I think they're going to do is, I think Glenn's going to pull through, and I think Sasha won't. So I'll do another video talking about that later with the whole Sasha thing, but that's what I think is going to happen. I think Glenn's going to make it, and she won't, because she's a pretty big character too. She's close to Tyrese. We saw her before, early like season 3. She was there with Tyrese. Remember when they found the group? The other members of their four, was it four, are dead. So she's been around for longer than most of these newer cast characters. So that would be a pretty big death, and then they could kind of keep Glenn because they haven't had, they probably would want to have deaths every, I don't know, somewhere between 4 to 5 episodes. There should be at least a pretty good main character death. So I think probably Sasha will get it, and I think that Glenn won't. But we'll discuss more in detail the Sasha issue, whether or not she'll survive next. So, and it would also, I mean, if they killed Glenn, what would happen to Maggie? Now that would be interesting to see what she would do. What would happen to her? Would she become suicidal? Would she? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it makes sense if they were to kill Glenn that she would. So I guess we'll have to see which side it goes. I think people would be, I don't know if people would be that pissed, if they killed Daryl right now, people would be outraged. Glenn, I think a good amount of people would be too, but not everybody. So anyway, those are my thoughts. Like I said, if you guys agree with me and you're leaning towards you think he'll survive, thumb it up. If you say nay, Trevor, you're wrong. He's dead. He's a dead man. Die, Glenn. Then thumb it down so that we can see from the video how many people think he's going to survive, how many people think he's going to die, and that's that. Anyway, if you guys have any more suggestions for the videos, like I said, I'm going to do that other one for Sasha. And if you have any others, please feel free to send them to me. I will take them into consideration. I like to make, maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 Walking Dead videos a week, the review, predictions video, and then a couple in-depth discussions on certain key things that are happening in the show at any given time between the episodes. One of the funnest things for me to do. I really enjoy it. So anyway, I'll call it here. That's it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one. This is Trev, and I'm saying peace.